For the last couple of months, and particularly over the last week, our legislators are talking about homelessness, and they've been working with our local mayors, the city and the county. Senator, you've been involved in this particular issue. What are the big issues with homelessness that they're trying to tackle right now?
Well, obviously Salt Lake City needs to site the facilities. The county is going to provide a lot of the programming. The county's come under some fire recently they basically have closed the jail to drug offenders. And so Salt Lake police force, they're saying that's putting them in jeopardy because they can't police. They say they need money for more jail beds, more treatment beds. The state is coming in, which I think is great. This is Speaker Hughes, President Niederhauser. But we're having some squabbles over, how should the jail beds be funded? Should the state do it? But I think the state's going to step up, probably fund some jail beds in rural Utah. Salt Lake County can move some folks over there. That'll open up beds. You have to sort out criminals from the true homeless to people who also just come in and party because they know right now they're not going to be arrested.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like we have a little bit of a clog in the pipe right now on this issue, right? We're hearing a lot of the different sides, but mostly we're just hearing about the controversy. What finally gets resolved here? What is on the menu that's going to fix this?
There is a plan in place of how much funding they'd need over a certain period of time, and I know there are some serious discussions behind the scenes and great leadership, I think, from some of the legislators to get this resolved this session. And I'm hopeful that that can actually happen. We're less than 3 weeks to go, but there's, I think, been some important movements in this last week from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm. You see progress. That's what the citizens need to see. Before they want a resource center in their neighborhood, they need to see progress. The government actually does have a handle on this issue.
And it's an interesting design how they're trying to purpose these funds and also make sure that we're just not cycling people in and out, that we actually help and that they can stay off. There's measures in place that they want to start baselining, and I think it's an important new approach to looking at this, not just setting up a new shelter, but we're actually seeing progress on how we're helping these folks become more independent.
We're moving from jailing to treatment, and it works. We need to fund it and fully implement it.
And some of the trouble, though, with that funding is that we don't have the Medicaid funding. If we had expanded Medicaid when that was being proposed around a Healthy Utah, then that would have helped the new prison. And it would have helped the jail tremendously. Yeah. Without that, it's a much bigger challenge to try and fund the
the state blames the Obama administration for that there was a waiver that they could have granted, should have granted, that would have provided the funding. They're going to take that up with the new administration. But I've pressed Speaker Hughes on this. Even if that doesn't come through, he expects the state will come through with additional treatment funding.
Mm-hmm. Is that the next step then, Chris? When you see the end of this thing, it starts with money from the state and then?
Well, yeah, I think part of it, but it also has to be demonstrated that if there is money put out there, we're making a difference. What I see time and time and again, for every dollar we have available, there's $4 in requests, and we have to be mindful that the taxpayers have got to see results for these investments. More money isn't always the solution, it's part of it.
All right, very good. That's going to have to be the last word on this one. Thank you for your great insight on this very important issue.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks.